Academy with Dr. Hashemi, the series where partial discharge concepts are explained step by step. Today's episode is about apparent charge. In IC 60270, there are concepts and principles for electrical PD measurements. One of the most important parts in this standard is related to the apparent charge. Previously, we discussed that the partial discharge creates some current pulses, but the current pulses transmitted to the measuring instrument can be distorted, and it means the current pulses due to partial discharge is not the same as the measuring instrument as the PD pulse and current pulse at the location of the PD source. And accordingly, it is not possible to measure the actual charge of the partial discharge by measuring instrument. And you use apparent charge based on the IEC recommendations. And if it is possible to transform the current pulses of the PD to apparent charge, it is useful and you should do. The apparent charge will be the integrate of the current during the T1 till T2. And if you remember the coupling device and the quadrupole, the PD current pulses are converted to output voltage based on the impedance of the measuring unit and the devices that you have. You can use this formula to calculate the apparent charge. The apparent charge is reported in picocoulomb and nanocoulomb. Based on the calibrations and other technical issues that we will explain in the next episode, you can calculate and you can measure the apparent charge. And the apparent charge that you measure depends on the PD event, depends on the devices that you have used, and based on the capacitance of the test object. And if some parameters changes in your measuring and test circuit, the apparent charge will be different. For example, the frequency of the measurement affects the apparent charge. If you measure in narrow band or wide band, the apparent charge will be different. It means the PD source is the same, the test object is the same, but based on the frequency of the measurement, you will have different apparent charge. Based on this concept and principles behind the apparent charge, you should consider the frequency of the measurement. You should follow the requirement of the standards of different high voltage asset and PD measurements of them. Finally, you can have a good result and good decision based on the apparent charge. Today we discussed about the apparent charge and IEC 60270 standard concepts of the Q and charge of the partial discharge that are measured by the measuring instrument, how it is calculated, and how it is affected due to parameters of the measurement, test object, and PD events. Thank you for watching. And